Come in. Hi, how you doing?
Good.
Daniel Ball.
Brenda
Nice to
Ball,
meet you.
nice to meet you.
All right, Miss Ball. We called you in today for an interview with Lexington ISD for a high school special education resource position. I'm just going to start by asking you some general questions, and then we'll go into special ed specific questions. The first question I have for you: begin by telling us a little bit about yourself. Elaborate on your resume and what led you to seek a teaching position. What is your story? Tell me about your path to college, and did you work while in high school or college?
So first of all, I grew up in education. Both of my parents were educators. My dad's a superintendent, and my mother has been a teacher for over 25 years. I have two brothers and sisters, one of which is at the collegiate level as a director of operations, and my sister is currently a stay-at-home mother, but she has the same qualifications that I do. She has her principal and her master's in special education. She has 3 kids herself with her husband Charlie. He's the athletic director in Rogers. Their youngest, Anna, has Down syndrome. And then I myself have 2 little ones, Maddie and Mavery. One is 3 and one is 9 months old. My husband is also an educator. We both went to high school together. We've known each other since the 8th grade, and then we went on to Texas A&M together. I did not work in high school, but once we got to A&M, I worked for the athletic department at A&M. I worked there for all 4 years. First, I worked for the athletic director's office, and then the last 2 years I worked for event management and helped with game day operations. So I saw all of the event management side of things and kind of how to control crowds, plan for events. Is there anything else on that question?
No, ma'am. I think you hit everything. The second question I have for you: what caused you to apply at Lexington ISD, and what interests you specifically about the position that is available at the high school, the special education resource position, and why do you want to work at this school?
So Lexington ISD is a great district. I've already read the rating scales on them and kind of their school district website. I really feel that this would be a good school for my girls to grow up in. It has a good proximity to College Station. My husband and I are both Aggies. We love, supporting the Aggies and all that we do. It's also close to family. Specifically the resource position, I love to work with all kids, special education especially. That's why I majored in what I majored in. And the high school position just really opened my eyes up. I've kind of been in elementary mindset for quite some time, but the high school would provide a great experience to learn kind of how the CTE roles kind of go into all of the transition planning and things that a resource special education student would need in the high school level.
Alrighty. In your opinion, what are the 3 most important traits of a good teacher? List 3 words that you think best describe a teacher and explain. Tell me about the teacher that had the most influence on your life.
Can you read the question again for me?
Yes. And I can read it in parts if you'd like me to do that.
That would be good. The first part.
In your opinion, what are the 3 most important traits of a good teacher? An elaboration on that. List 3 words that you think best describe a teacher and explain.
Honesty, respect, and patience. So honesty, because if a student is honest with you and you are honest with them, then you are able to build a trusting relationship with that student, and in turn you will get more out of the student in terms of how they can progress. A lot of times special education students will have behavior disorders co-exhibiting within their learning disability or their intellectual disability, and so respect plays a big key in discipline and forming the relationship with them, because if a student is not respectful towards you or you're not respectful towards them, then the relationship will not be beneficial. And patience, because high school students require a lot of patience. Most of the time the students still are, figuring out how their brain is operating, as well as their, hormonal balances and chemical. And so having the students learn that, kind of jumps off being patient in the classroom.
Okay. Tell me about the teacher that had the most influence on your life.
That's a tough one. Let me think just for a second. So I think the teacher that had the most influence in my life, her name was Miss Russell, and she taught 7th and 8th grade English. And she really just modeled how to be such a respectful and honest and patient teacher. She worked with all of the students. She, was at our sporting event. She made it a point to include everybody and make sure that they all had what they needed in terms of education. She, just really taught us in a way that was so beneficial to our minds at that time. Looking back on it now with all of the education I've had up to this point, it's, she used all of the Bloom's taxonomy, and, she followed accommodations and modifications, and she ensured that RTI data was being used and benchmark information. And that's probably why she had such good STAR results as well.
All right. How would you divide a typical class period?
At Lexington High School, they do 8 periods a day. Is that correct?
Yes, we have 8 class periods a day.
And it's how long for each class period?
We have 45 minutes for each class period. So you'll have the 45 minutes, and then we have an 8-period class day, but you're going to have one conference period, and you're also going to have a teaming period in which that we can meet with departmental or split up departmentally, so that you can meet and visit with the special ed department for anything that needs to be adjusted or anything for student instruction.
Okay, so for a 45-minute class period, high school students require different instruction. So based on my class breakup, if I've got all content mastery, then I would like to focus on more of a block schedule. And by that, I mean, Monday and Wednesday we'd work on mathematics or whatever math that they are in. Then Tuesday, Thursday, we would work on their English and reading. And then Fridays we would kind of build towards CTE and elective classes, and just to ensure that they have a well-rounded time for content mastery. Now that might not work, so we have to be fluid. And in terms of a resource room, I would like to teach and do the introduction for about 5-10 minutes, and then I'd like to dive into the topic for about another 25, and then provide some guided practice time. And then the rest of the time they can use as independent practice as we model and kind of guide other kids through it.
All right. The next question, describe the incorporation of technology into your daily instruction.